Yo, what's happening, everybody? Any Crypto Talk. I wanted to say Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and appreciate all the support that I've gotten on the channel throughout the year and previous years. And I wish you all the health, wealth, and happiness moving into the New Year's. Not financial advice. None of this is ever financial advice. We're just going to go over a quick chart overview, and I do want to talk about Citadail. And then, I'm just going to let you guys off with a quick one because not a lot has changed, to be honest. I mean, we did have this pretty volatile spike up, in the past couple of weeks. I have been busy with my job as well as busy with the holidays, family, all that sort of stuff. So that's why we haven't got a chance to hop on the streams. So you can see the VIX popped up to about 28 here. It's when it broke actually back up above this line that we had in there. Kind of the line in the sand, and then it pumped and faked out kind of. We are kind of on the rise again here, but I don't think there's much cause for concern anymore. It did have its big VIX spike up sort of day, and we saw a pretty major dump in a lot of things. We saw some major dumpage in things like NAS, 4% on the day, continued down, but bounced off, 20,700. It does look maybe like it could be rolling over. But then you go to the daily and it's really not that bad. So I don't think it's a cause for concern yet. It kind of looks like it could be forming to something like here, but it's above that channel there. So I think we're still pretty good overall in the stock market. And then of course the crypto markets, you would have seen this major pump up in the USDT.D, the dominance of US dollar tether. And it kind of came up to retest this sort of zone here. I think this is kind of where we don't want to see it break through. I wouldn't like to see it break through this kind of level and sustain it for too long. If it does, it could be a cause for concern. I think as long as we're underneath this 4.5, we should be looking pretty good overall to continue. Of course, we've seen this as well that during this sort of uncertainty, we had Bitcoin dominance make a push back up and reject around this the trend line that we looked at. So that's looking pretty good. And of course, if we look at Bitcoin itself, it's kind of broken a lot of this stuff that we talked about. So we can kind of get rid of some of this stuff. But I will leave that because it looks like, maybe this was actually the key bounce we were talking about, was kind of this instead. Just that it, our trajectory was a little bit off maybe. So this could be more probable for the trajectory. Now that we're underneath this though, it's, it could be cause for concern, because even if we look at this trajectory right here, although debatable, this could be actually inverted head and shoulders. So that's is that really what we're looking at? I'm not 100% sure, but that could be potentially what we're looking at now. So we could be looking at the bounce happening anytime here and then continuation upwards. That's at least in my opinion, that's what I was saying was another sort of reach up to these highs, then potentially come and sweep and send back up afterwards. So that could be exactly where we're in, and that's kind of what we talked about a while ago. We also talked about just continuation upwards, which, you know, we did start to see this, that it was continuing upwards, but then it did reject up here at you know, this kind of resistance points around 110, front ran around 108.5. You know, it rejected underneath this resistance at 100k and rejected again. We're looking to bounce off the 90k, but it could be that gradual trend that we were just looking at. So yeah, I think, you know, BTC still looks like it's in a good place to cook. ETH BTC, we thought, you know, it's coming back, it's gonna really make a comeback here, but of course it had to retest back down low. Now I think we look for, you know, this 0.04 to break and then have some continuation maybe out of here like so. Just kind of moves our plan forward a little bit. So yeah, ETH USD, it's just consolidating, so I think it looks good still. Just where it's consolidating, I think it still looks like it's gonna cook. So it's really all this resistance between here and 4.8, 4.9k. That's what we have to really be concerned about, because once it's above that, you know, it can cook up pretty quickly up into this, you know, 8 to 10k range. So yeah, watching ETH for that next kind of play. Same with Solana, watching that for that next kind of play. Where was the bottom? Probably right around here. So that's kind of the bottom on this trend line, and as you can see, we, you know, are consolidating in the bottom, but we're trending upwards. So I think once this 0.0582, once that kind of breaks through, we're going to see some real rocket ship type of movements on Solana. We're retesting this kind of this area, these tops. So we're kind of retesting that as support. So resistance, 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 and then support. And now, you know, we should have this should be basically to the races, you know, after this, because this was our initial breakout out of all-time highs, made a really big run, and now it's retesting that. So I think next legs for Solana should be pretty big. Sorry, that was Sol ETH. Sol BTC looking a little more cooked, but again, it's just retesting these lows rather than retesting the highs. And then I think from here, you know, once we've done this kind of consolidation sort of box range, this area, and once it kind of clears that, we should see a lot more movement on something like Solana. Maybe it does this before it does that, to create that kind of inverted head and shoulders look. So
Okay, Squeaker, come brush your teeth again.
yeah, Sol dominance, it did break down, but again, we're looking at it just kind of taming with these lows here. It hasn't, in this sort of channel, it hasn't made a lower low, so postponing our fractal, we're just going to get rid of that for now. Sol USD, let's see what we were looking at. It's still kind of within the hog of things. You know, you could look at it as this was kind of the first leg, so first leg, then it's taking the stall. This is kind of the stall that we saw between December to February, and then it continued next leg. So November to probably January, and then we'll see next leg. I think that kind of looks good for me for a stall out. This is actually bigger than what I think most anticipated. I don't think most people really conceptualized it going down this far again. So I think this is actually kind of like a blessing in disguise on stuff like Solana, that you get this extra dip to really cop bigger bags and and make sure that you're really set up for a big move, because Solana can really make waves this cycle still. It's got so much going on Solana, and it really hasn't broken this. If you look at this trajectory, kind of from the beginning of this previous move from September, it hasn't actually broke down through its trajectory. So I'm really keeping an eye on Solana here for a really nice move, and I think this is a good place to position for it, because you're retesting the highs right here before this major huge push that it had from 150 to 260. So yeah, I think that's kind of covering a lot of the majors. This stuff like XRP, we talked about this for sure. This could take a little more time to cook now, just because of the size of its market cap and whatnot. It's not looking as strong, I would say, as stuff like Solana. Solana does look stronger right now. But anyways, guys, I want to talk about Citadail hedge fund that's built on Griffain. Griffain, the AI. So Griffain.com. This is a dashboard for all your AI agents. You can sign up with your email, SMS, Phantom. There are more options. And once you get started, what is it essentially right now? It's just an early access program, but it has agents, right? So AI agents, either personal or specialized agents. And so these are the agents, just a list of some of the agents that you have here. I'll show you their agents they've got so far and their pricing page. So right now you can get in on the early access pass. Anyone with a Saga Genesis token or a regular Griffain access pass. The agents are 0.25 Sol for EV. And I believe regular either early access or I think actually just the regular access passes are 2 Solana. They give you back 0.5 inside the platform to play around with and use these agents. Getting a bit of lag now. I'm not sure. This might be from my end. But yeah, so things like the sniper bot, the flipper bot, they have these tools that you can snipe tokens or flip tokens on Pump Fund. So it's a pretty unique platform already. It's got a really interesting moat for Solana to have this a dashboard that can do all of these different things. And of course they're building this out where people can create and code their own agents, and then of course it's gonna be like a marketplace. Think of it like an app store for your agents, and they can be specialized agents, things like that. So that having been said, I think they have a website, Citadail. Oh no. I think I might have to find it through Dex. Yeah, Citadail.ai. So this is something that I called out in my Telegram, both on the Citadail token and the Citadail hedge fund token, which is running on DAOs.fun. I called them both out around the 400k mark. So the Citadail one, calling this one out around 400k. It was way back here. So it was in the first day when it had a major dump right down to here. I caught this dip at 380, and I actually called it out in my Telegram at the same time. There was 600k in trading volume in these half hour right here where I called it out. So there was like you could have got a pretty big bag in down at these lows. And as you can see, like it revisited 670K, but then that next day it did run up to $13.88 million. So I ran that 3,400%. So a 34x that I handed out in my group. Of course, it's been down since. But as we can see now, we had these big trend lines. We were following them. And we popped out of them with some major follow through. Back up to almost 8 mil. Sort of kind of in this resistance here. I would mark that out now. As this is kind of the resistance I think we want to get through. I don't need to make the box that big, to be honest, but I think that's way too big of a box, to be honest. Probably closer to that. So like some pretty major resistance right in this sort of area. Yeah, this is an interesting inflection point for sure. And this is kind of, this should be technically an order block as well. So kind of two sort of major resistances on the upside that we would like to see break through. But again, if you look at this trend kind of from the bottom where it hits here, we're quite on track with just continuation upwards. And it did get sharper here. You can see like this is one way to look at it, right? Is like you can see this steeper trend. Once it did break through, it continued back down to sort of retest. This is the down move before the up move that breaks market structure. Down candle before the up move that breaks market structure, right? Because this candle right here, this was the up move. It broke this previous resistance high, because we were going lower high, and then we made a little bit of a higher high, and then we retested back down in the lows, and now we really off to the races after that. So we're retesting this. It's probably not going to go much lower than what it's already lowered out on. So that's what I would say is kind of the support that we're testing now, which it looks nice if we look back through its history as well, right? That's a good sort of place for a lot of inflection and confluence. You could go as high as there, but I think a little bit lower even. Sort of like that. So I think this is where we look for a really good bid at this point, because we're retesting the breakout structure. So anyways, guys, looking for a bid on Citadail here. Sorry, I had to mute for a sec there. Yeah, this is a really good support line for Citadail. I think, again, breaking through this resistance around the 6.6 to 7.2 mil mark, it's really going to cook. And I think this doesn't really affect it much. Up in the 10 to 12, we might shoot through 10 and then shoot to 12 and then retest 10 and then continue on up past all-time highs. 20 mil sort of the marker, I would say, for the next all-time highs, and we can draw a fib on that just to kind of see the trend-based fib extension. So off these lows to the high, and then we drop back down to the low here. And so we look at that, and kind of you can see where there's some inflection points here probably that are somewhat similar. Like we do have that 786. Like I said, once it breaks through the 786, it should sort of send to, this is kind of, I would say, our first target. Target 1 would be 14.5 to 22 mil. And then of course targets moving up, as you can see. We'll just slap a couple of these. Whoops. Slap a couple extra ones of these, because this next extension, we could see it pop between 15 mil to 57, 58 mil. That's kind of, that's what we could see on the next leg of Citadail. There's so much happening behind the scenes, and so much that a lot of people don't pay attention to. I am Jakey was giving Citadail a shout out today, and this is what the chart looks like. I mean, this is an AI play. You guys realize that, where Griffain is, the creator or the CEO in part of Griffain is supporting Citadail. They are the first autonomous hedge fund DAO powered by Griffain, and Tony from Griffain has given us props and is tweeting about us. Now you guys know that. Let me just quickly pop it onto another screen and disconnect it. Just for now, I want to disconnect it because, yeah, like, I mean, sure, you can see it. I'm not a fan of doing that. I'm not a fan of, like, being like, this is, look at what I have and stuff like that. I don't do that shit. So I try to keep it kind of private. But anyways, so Citadail, the hedge fund, which, as you can see, gold checked on DAOs.fun, which, if people don't know what DAOs.fun is, it's basically AI16Z's home. So AI16Z, as you can see, has $1.748 billion market cap, with $15 million net asset value on DAOs.fun. And how is that possible? Is because of these tokens that it holds. Like that one just flickered. It actually got 30 mil, my bad. $30 million net asset value. And so you can buy, if you want, say buy like some AI16Z DAO tokens, and then you're part of this DAO, which of course increases in market value. And then once you have those AI16Z tokens, you can share in this AI16Z pool party, which has an APR of 46% right now, which is huge. But you look at something like the Griffain pool, which is run by Citadail HF, which is the hedge fund DAO, right? So this is the AI powered quant that's run on Griffain, and they created the hedge fund on DAO.fun. So now they can use that AI bot to trade between the token and the hedge fund DAO token. Now this is where it gets crazy, right? Like that's the image that I had posted up on the stream, was this one right here. Let me pull it over. So this is kind of the way that I look at this, that there's steps forward consistent with the Citadail concept. and then in this Citadail hedge fund concept, which is the DAO.fund token, which, as we can see now, you know, when APR of 186%, we've seen this up to 1,000% at some points. So as we see steps forward consistent with the Citadail concept, and the more of the concept I'll show you on the website here, then this flywheel effect kind of comes into play, where we see an accumulation of the visible results, which means things like the APR here, where people are getting rewards, where it's like the Citadail net value in the hedge fund goes up, increasing the value of the token of the Citadail HF token, and those people's funds go up. We saw this pump, which I can show you here. Again, I called this out after it launched, probably around it was maybe around 400k market cap here, like on this first dip, where I was like, yo, buy this, ape this. I already aped it myself. You know, I got in around these lows, 300, actually I think it was lower because I bought during the launch, so I bought probably under 300k. It has not revisited that. It has not revisited this, because we saw this this sort of bull flag of the token launch come out, and then we saw Tony, again from Griffain, tweet right around here, and it sent up to $4.7 million, which gave you guys again a 10x, an easy 10x, which is now consolidating, you know, around 2.3 mil. Still a 5x, still a 6x type thing, for depending on when you got in. And we're seeing the same sort of thing play out, where we're going to get a sort of bull flag, and then it's going to pop, and it's going to go again. And I think this looks like a Doge type chart, where it just steps up to huge multiples, because this is an AI play, right? So what do you do? Because a lot of people come in and they're confused. They see me talking about Citadail HF, Citadail. They don't know what's what, right? You know, I've been talking about this in my chat for a few weeks, and that's probably the best place to get your questions answered. You know, I did remove the link, so if you want in, you have to private message me. You can go on X, you can message me on X. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. Go on X and you check out Andy_Bean_stock, and yeah, and then you get me hooked up, right? And then yeah, it's $20. That's all I'm asking. $20, you get in. That's it. Then you get these calls. So what's a person to do if they're interested in this, right? So the vision behind Citadail is that they combine cutting-edge AI with the transparency and collaboration of blockchain technology. And basically, again, Griffain, the AI, their quant, that's what's going to drive the Citadail profits. Of course, we have the Citadail utility token. That's for funding the DAO. And then now they have the DAO formed, and as you can see, $2.4 million. It did pop up to that sort of 4.8 mil right away, and it's been settling between 2 and 4 mil ever since. Whereas, you know, when the DAO went live, let's see, when was it? It would have been 26th at like 1, 26th at like 13. So DAO went live right around here, and the Citadail token continued kind of going sideways and then dumping again. And that was like, I think people were concerned about that. Like, what's happening? You're taking from Citadail and you're creating the Citadail hedge fund token, and they saw this thing ripping, so people were getting FOMO and they were jumping into the HF token, selling their Citadail, not realizing that it's a flywheel effect, right? So the flywheel effect, the accumulation of visible results, is seeing, you know, the Citadail HF token pump to a 10x in the first couple days. that's part of this. And then people line up energized by the results. So then what happens is people got stoked and they got money and they got wins, and they decided to take that and bring it back into the Citadail concept, because the flywheel builds momentum, and this is what happens. It just goes on an upward trajectory. So we will have dips along the way, but just remember that this is a flywheel effect. And that flywheel came back in, and look what happened. Citadail pumped from 1.8 mil to almost 8 mil. So, and we can see it rejected right on that 50% rejection mark. So that's kind of confluent with seeing it move above there. And that's where it's having troubles here right now, is the 236. And then of course it had some troubles on the 382 as well. So these are kind of points that I would like to see move up from here. Looking at this trend, it's a sharp one technically, because that's the low. But I've just been playing all the newest highs and just showing myself what's going to happen, because really at the end of the day we want to see it close kind of above here. Really above here would be ideal. Above 5 mil, close above 5 mil, and this thing's going to rocket up again. Go for the next leg. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to give you guys a quick drop on that one before the New Year's. Happy New Year to everyone, and thanks for joining me in 2024 for all of the fun stuff that I brought you guys through, and looking forward to health, wealth, and happiness, and 1000x's for my whole group moving into 2025. This is the year we all make it. We're getting out the trenches, we're getting out the hood. Whatever it is you're in right now, we're going to get out of it. You're going to fire your boss, and you're going to become prosperous and wealthy in 2025. I will tune out for this one, and we'll catch you guys in the next year of Andy's Crypto